Right now, I'm going to talk about two color adjustment layers that I'm actually using the most, probably. I was thinking about this, which color adjustment layers I'm using the most to adjust my images, to adjust different kind of images. And I think I would say gradient map and selective color. These two are the adjustments I'm using the most if it's about color. And I'm using them for different images. Gradient maps are mostly used for more panoramic images, for nature images, for family images, for example, where I want to adjust the general color tones of the image. So for example, this picture would be perfect, this picture would be perfect. Actually, the ones I'm showing you would be all perfect. However, let's go to the bridge. And I'm going to find something in bridge. And for example, if I would find the image, the beauty image, it would be like this, portrait image. Let's open this. I'm sure I wouldn't use the gradient maps. However, I would try to adjust the color using just a selective color. So that's the difference between two. And the task I'm using, of course, you could use this for any kind of image, but you're going to notice the differences between them and know which one is better to use for which kind of things, because they're totally different. They don't have much in common, but I'm using them just for different things also, for different kind of images. So I'm going to start from gradient map. And what about gradient map? Let's open this. And when you open in gradient map, just remember to not open the gradient, because these are very different adjustment layers, because gradient map belongs to the fill adjustment layers, and we're going to talk about this. For now, we're talking about gradient map, and it's very different. So what you can see now, we have this weird thing. Let's say it's a line right now, we could say like this, and this is our gradient map of the image. So it's the map with the tones of the image. It's going from the black color to the totally white color. So the same as you remember the curves or levels, we had the sliders. So in this case, also on the left side, we have our shadows. On the middle, we have midtones, and on the right side, these are highlights. So that's how we set up, and it's the gradient map of the image, is the tone information of the image. So all of the dark areas are filled with this black color, the midtones are filled with this gray color, and the highlights are filled with this white color. And I have to say, when we use the gradient map, which looks exactly like this, so it's from black to white with nothing more than this, it's absolutely the ideal black and white image. To show you a proof, I'm going to use this black and white layer, and as you can see, there's no difference between these two. So it means the gradient map we used right now, it's actually absolutely the black and white image, but of course it has much more possibilities, and the image looks like this because I set up gradient map like this from the black to white color. So as you already know, the dark areas, or this left side, we should say, so which is responsible for darks, fill the areas which are in the darkness, and as we go into the right side, is going to fill the areas that are actually highlights. And I want to give you a small tip when it's about using gradient maps, and remember this color wheel. I opened this once again here. Of course, we don't have all of the colors that gradient maps is, but keeping this in mind will be very useful for you, because you can see reds, with which reds, greens, we're going to often use these colors, also blues and yellows. I think these are the colors we're going to use the most, and also black. So actually you already know that blacks works really great with white color. It's a very natural thing. So let's open this gradient map. Okay, and when you're going to hit over here to open this gradient map, you're going to have some of the gradient maps which are already in Photoshop. You can create your own. However, if you open this for the first time, you don't have all of this, which is over here, but you have this view. If you open Photoshop for the first time, if you open this option for the first time and you are not doing anything more over here, you see this. So let's hit some different gradient map to have a look, and this one will be pretty much great. And as you can see, what is happening, the darks become filled with the red color and highlights with the green color. And when you remember this from the color wheel, it's actually how it was made. So the minds who work in Photoshop probably kept this in mind. Also, when you find other colors, it's actually the same, and this would be probably much more suitable for this image. And also you have very soft dissolve between the colors. That's very important with gradient map, and is adjusted for the tones of the image. So it goes as the tones goes. So red color is everywhere where we have dark tones, and it's actually crossing into the red colors through the midtones, and the highlights are filled with these green colors. So I'm going to choose this one, which is a bit more suitable. And of course, when I'm going to take down opacity, it probably will look a bit better. But about adjusting this to your image and to your project, we're going to talk a bit more. Let's be focused on how gradient maps works. Of course, that's not everything. I'm going to open these gradient maps. And also, at the very beginning, I want to tell you the thing that will be very useful if you work with photography. If you have less than this, just few of these gradient maps, you can hit this icon over here and find photographic tuning. Exactly this. So if you work with photography, hit photographic tuning, and I'm going to hit cancel, but you're going to have all of this, what I have here. I work with photography often, so I already did this. And if you're using Photoshop CS6 or newer one, you're going to have this. Also, you have many other presets over here for different kind of work. I'm going to hit metals, I'm going to hit OK or a pinned, and let's to the bottom, and these are our metals we choose. I'm going to open something more maybe. I think pastels will be really nice. So when I hit pastels, as you can see, it works like this. So make sure that you're going to have a look for the presets. You can open them all, but it will become a bit messy a bit later. So as you can see, we have a lot of gradient map presets, but I'm not going to play with this. But the thing is to explain you the general idea about this map, because that's the thing we are talking about. So we have two sliders from the dark areas to our highlights, as you already know. When I'm going to grab this slider responsible for our shadows, for our darks, and going to drag this to the right side, as you can see, I'm going to make the shadow area a bit larger, so the area which is going to be influenced by this dark color will be larger, as you can see. So I increased the darks in my gradient map. And also the cross between the dark color and the bright color become smaller, so it's not so soft as it was before. The same when I'm going to grab from the highlights and make this smaller, I'm going to do the same but opposite way for the highlights. If you were seeing what I was doing when I choose other gradient maps, you can create more of these little arrows over here, these little sliders. It's absolutely too much, but I'm going to hit something here. And usually 3 sliders are quite alright when you're working, but of course you can create more to adjust the dissolve, to adjust the tones for your image. So I'm going to use this one, and for example I'm going to change the colors. You can change the colors by hitting into the slider, open the colors, and for the highlights I'm going to choose color blue, dark blue color, and I'm sorry, it was for shadows, and for highlights I'm going to choose creamy color, maybe something around this. That will be very, very nice. I really like this. Okay. And also when I'm going to hit here on the middle, I created new one. So when you hit under this, you create new one, and we have already the color, which we of course can change. And by adjusting this slider into both sides, you can create the smaller cross, you can adjust the midtones for your image. I'm going to change this color because it's not suitable, and I'm going to find the color which is actually between this color and this color, because that will be the most suitable, and I'm going to choose this around this, I believe. So okay, it looks pretty nice, but this color, I'm going to make this a bit brighter. It was too strong. Okay, and right now we can of course adjust the range for the balance over here. So of course we can work with these tiny sliders as well, and maybe I'm going to create something more. I'm going to change this color into the black one, or maybe very dark one. I'm going to hit under over here once again, and this color will be bluish. So as you can see, we can really play a lot with the gradient map, and with this map, on this map, to adjust the colors to achieve really desired look. And that's basically everything what you need to know about this gradient map, about adjusting the colors, but about adjusting the tones. But if you already walked through the levels, curves, and when you open the gradient map, it's way easier to understand about what's going on over here. You have to say that after all of these previous adjustment layers, it's really easy to find yourself comfortable in all of this. So let's hit OK when we finished it. And I messed up a little bit with the colors because I wanted to show you a lot of things, so I'm not sure if it will be suitable, but let's take down opacity to see how it looks like. And it's not looking so bad, actually. It's giving us really nice vintage effect. And that's all I wanted to show you about gradient maps. And right now we will go to my personal favorite, and of course I'm talking about selective color, which is super powerful for retouching portraits, and of course with retouching every kind of image. I'm going to change the image just to make this a bit more interesting, of course, and also we have really nice colors over here. And about selective color, you can simply pick up one color from the image that exists on the image, and you can manipulate with this color by affecting this with different colors, different tones actually. So I'm going to show you straight away how does it look like. I'm going to open selective color adjustment layer, and straight away nothing is happening. We have of course some presets and also colors over here. So we can choose colors like reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, etc. You can see this over here. When I'm choosing reds, you can easily notice where on the image reds exist. I'm going to zoom this a little bit to make you see this even a bit better. So let's play with reds. And how can we affect these reds? We can bring up some of the cyan color on the reds, or take this down. We can bring up some of the magenta, or take this down, bring up yellows, or take this down, as well as bring up some black, or take this down. And the same how it looks like with every color. So as reds are very specific, I'm going to start with this. I'm bringing some cyans, and you can see how does it affect my reds color. I'm taking down cyan from the red, and it's affecting the way the less cyan is there, the more red color exists, of course, because cyan is cold color, opposite to this will be warm color. Really interesting effects should be with magenta right now, because magenta, when we take down magenta, because this car pretty much has this red magenta color, so when we're actually taking this down, it's losing its natural color, and it's totally now has different color, and it's even not so distractive. It looks like just different color of the car. Even more interesting when we're going to play with this yellow color. As you can see, when we bring this up now, we're going to add yellow color, so it will be more yellowish. but I think more interesting when I'm going to take down this yellow and bring up the magenta as it was. So we have very similar color, but by selective colors we are choosing the color and totally change this. Also, when we want to change or improve other color, in this case let's go into greens, because we have a lot of green over here, and also yellows should be very useful. And about greens, I'm going to bring up some of the yellow, and this green is very soft, so I'm going to take the magenta down, and I'm trying to make this greener. It's making greener very slowly because this green color is very soft, but I believe it's going to work for us a bit better when I'm going to change for yellows. This grass is a bit yellow, so yeah, it is working really well for us. Of course, I'm bringing up to the really critic values. It's very strong values, and usually when I edit this I'm not adding such a strong values, but it's for now as an example. Also take down magenta from yellow colors, and as you can see, this grass become much greener right now. Which color we have more? We have sky, so I'm going to play a little bit with blues and cyans, maybe actually. I'm going to bring up some cyan, take down or bring up some of the magenta, but it's going to affect the car because I already have some magenta, so better I be careful, and take down some of the yellow. And also with blues I'm going to do the same to improve. So as you can see, we didn't have so much of these blues, but we improved them by selective colors and we brought up what we actually could. Except the colors, you have modes like whites. It's still a color, so you can improve the whites, and mostly improve whites you can do by taking down the blacks. So I'm not going to do more with this. However, except the colors, you have neutrals. And neutrals is super powerful if you want to adjust the general tones of the image, because it's going to affect all of the neutrals colors, because it's just as a gray. So when you will be pulling up or taking down the colors, what is happening, and you can notice it's actually changing all of the image, because it's like a gray layer, and gray layer affects everything. Also magenta I'm not going to play a lot here because it would totally change the image, but I'm going to make this kind of warm. And I think this result is alright. And let's just have a look at the image before and after this editing. It was over edited, but as you can see, it gives us really nice saturated full of life colors, and that's for what I love using selective colors. So also what I told you before, I love to use this for just portrait retouching, because we have on the face or the lips has very specific colors. So by using selective color, we can actually adjust and improve these little color details of the image. So that's super powerful for the retouching for images like that, and it works great on every kind of image. So that would be all if it's about color adjustment layers. I showed you 8 different color adjustment layers, which I consider as the most important for your work. And if I would have a point few of them, which are the most important for me, you probably know, for me the most important are selective color and gradient map. I love to use them. If I would have to choose something more, probably it would be maybe color balance, even though I'm not using color balance that much, but I still think it's more useful than some others, because hue saturation actually I'm only sometimes using to make some colors pop out, or usually it's to take down some of the saturation if you work with photo composition. But for other things, I would say for improving the image, improving the colors, it's better to play with selective colors, gradient map, etc. And also color balance, as I said, it's one of the most powerful adjustment layer if it's about colors, probably. So these 3 are something you should keep down. You should play a lot, of course, play out with all of them, but I believe you're going to use also 3 of them. The most maybe selective color and gradient map become your favorite, as it is for me.